Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Think CSEc. Today, I will be doing the CSEc Office Administration May June 2018 Paper 1. I would love to express my gratitude to all of you students who have subscribed to my channel and who have become a part of the Think CSEC family. And for those of you who are visiting my channel for the very first time, a very warm welcome. And please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you know when new videos are uploaded. Also, please press that like button. Let me pause for a few seconds and allow you to go ahead and press that like button. Yes, thank you very much. When you do that, you allow this video to reach as many students as possible. Also, you will be noticing that ads will be playing. I have to keep on saying this because a lot of you, I realize, are skipping the ads. But when you allow the ads to play out, you show your appreciation for the effort that goes into preparing these videos. So, let's get into this paper. So, the first question says, a large office space with many employees working in the same area is referred to as A, cellular, B, enclosed, C, extended, D, open plan. We know that is the open plan. So the answer would be D. Let's go on to question number 2. When typing, filing, and mailing functions are performed in each department of an organization, the office is described as A, centralized, B, specialized, C, decentralized, or D, individualized. So we know B and D would have been out of our answer option. So we're left with A and C. And we know that our answer would be C when it is performed in each department. When it is performed in one location, one central location, that would be centralized. So C would be our answer, decentralized. Let's go on to number 3. In a letter, the attention line appears A after the date, B before the date, C after the subject, or D before the salutation. We know that the attention line, it appears before the salutation. Let's go on to question number 4. You are a clerk in a small organization and you are accountable to your supervisor, who is the secretary. You feel that some improvements can be made in the filing system. Which of the following would be the most appropriate step for you to take? A. Discuss your ideas with a colleague. B. Discuss your ideas with the secretary. C. Make the changes you feel are necessary. Or D. Continue with the older system until you are asked for an opinion. So we know it says the key point, you are accountable to your supervisor, who is the secretary. That's a key part in you determine your answer. So therefore, we know the answer would be B. Discuss your ideas with the secretary. Let's go on to question number 5. It says, the science of fitting the workplace to meet the needs of the employees is known as A. Ergonomics, B. Networking, C. Telecommuting, D. Social responsibility. So we know that is A. Ergonomics. 6 says, mega industries experienced a 45% labor turnover during the last 3 years. Which of the following actions can be taken to reduce this turnover rate? 1. Improve work conditions at work. 2. Review and revise salaries offered. 3. Provide opportunities for development. Well, we know in order to reduce the turnover rate and to actually satisfy the employee, we know that all of these would be very, very important to do that. Improve the work conditions at work, review and revise salaries offered, and provide opportunities for development so that we could have a better turnover rate. So D would be our answer. 7. In an office where large quantities of printed materials have to be cut to size, it would be most useful to have access to so key point, large quantities of printed materials. So is it A, guillotine, B, letter opener, C, sharp-edged knife, or D, large pair of scissors? We know it says large. So B, C, and D, none of these could have achieved that objective. So the answer would be A, guillotine, to cut that amount, large amount of printed materials. Let's go to question number 8. And by the way, this is going to be a two-part video. So this is part 1, and therefore part 2 will be coming up next. So that is why it is important, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, to go ahead and do so now so that you know when part 2 is out. 8 says, item 8 refers to the situation below. The Secretary of Brands International was having difficulty placing a direct overseas call, so she asked the operator to place the call for her. She wanted to speak to Mr. John King. The operator was successful in placing the call. So the question for 8 says, the major difference between the operator assisted call and the direct call is that the operator assisted call, A, is timed, B, incurs no additional fee, C, is monitored by the operator, or D, has to be paid for immediately. So some key terms here: major, operated assisted call, and direct call. So what's the difference? Well, we know the difference is that C, it is monitored by the operator. That's the difference between an operator assisted call and a direct call. 9 says, which of the following telephone calls would be most suitable for personnel in different locations to speak to each other without leaving their respective locations? A, collect, B, toll free, C, fixed time, D, conference. So personnel in several different locations. So what would allow them to all be able to connect even though they're in different locations? So we know that would be D, conference. Conference. So 10 says, which of the following pieces of equipment may be used for stamping mail? A, jogger, B, collator, C, duplicator, or D, franking machine? So we know this is an easy one. We know it is the franking machine. D. Let's go to number 11. A customer called and inquired about a letter which had been sent to the firm a month ago. However, the letter could not be found. To determine if the letter was received, the mail clerk should refer to the A, mailing list, B, mail register, C, postage book, or D, correspondence digest. So to determine if the letter was received, right? So therefore, the mail clerk would have to check the mail register. So B would be our answer. 12 says, You are traveling to a destination where the time is 1 hour ahead of your departure time. If your plane departs at 12 noon and your flight takes 1 hour and 15 minutes, at what time would you arrive at your destination? Now, this question, some of you have been stating in the comments that the answer that I've provided is not the correct answer. But remember, it says the destination where you're going is 1 hour ahead of your departure time. That's a very important piece of information that you have to take into consideration in calculating the amount of time that you would take to arrive at your destination. So if the plane departs at 12 noon, your flight takes 1 hour and 15 minutes. That is 13-15 minutes. But you have to take into consideration that the destination is 1 hour ahead. So you would have to factor that. So that is why we arrive at the 14-15 hours. Some of you have been saying it is 13-15, but it can't be. 13 says, a confidential letter addressed to the employee is received in a torn condition. The mail clerk should A. Return the letter to the mail department, B. Refuse to accept the envelope from the mail department, C. Put the letter into a new envelope and take it to his or her employer, D. Attach a note to the envelope and deliver by hand to his or her employer. So it is more likely it is a confidential letter. It was received torn. So the mail clerk would have to attach a note to it and deliver it by hand to his employer. So that is what she would do in receiving that letter. 14. 3 months have passed since you applied for a job at a large firm. You have only received a letter of acknowledgement. What is the most appropriate action to be taken? A. Write another letter of application. B. Write a letter to follow up on the application. C. Telephone your friend who works with the firm. Or D. Visit the company and ask to see the human resource officer. We know it could not be A. Write another letter. That is irrelevant. They already have your information. B. Write a letter to follow up on the application. That is the suitable thing to do according to our notes. Telephone a friend can't help, and visit a company to ask what's the point in visiting the company to see the human resource officer. So we know the answer would be B. 15. You work in the records management department of a large firm. In what order should you file correspondence from the following three clients? 1. Arthur Woolford. 2. Erin Wolf. 3. Myrtle Woolworth. So according to our alphabetical name by surname, that is, so we know that Erin Wolf, that surname, so that would be the first one. 2. And then we have Arthur Woolford, because wool, the F comes before the double worth. So Arthur Woolford next, and then Myrtle Woolford. So the answer is C. Let's go to 16. The Accounts Department has requested a file from the Central Filing Department. Which of the following actions should the file clerk take? 1. Find out if the file is available. 2. Complete an out sheet and place it in the file. 3. Ask the person receiving the file to sign for it. So is it A, 1 only, B, 1 and 2 only, C, 1 and 3 only, or D, 1, 2, and 3? So we know it would be 1 and 3 only, C. Let's go to number 17. Here we go. Item 17 refers to the following form. So we have date taken, folder number or name, taken by, date return. So the form indicated above is it A, an absent card, B, an index card, C, a minute sheet, or D, a cross-referencing sheet? We know it's not an index card. That's not a minute sheet either. nor is it a cross-reference sheet. So we know it is A, an absent card. Let's go to number 18. Filing through the use of microfilming is valuable for the storage of A, official records which are frequently used, B, passport-sized photographs of staff members, C, information which must be kept for many years, or D, customers' accounts from which statements are to be made. Which would be your answer? So, microfilming, we know that would be information which must be kept for many years. C. 19. Which of the following services would usually be offered to customers who have fixed deposit accounts at a commercial bank? 1. Withdrawals on demand with interest earned. 2. Higher interest rate than that offered on savings accounts. 3. Permission to write checks on the accounts. Is it A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, 1 and 3 only, or D, 1, 2 and 3? So we know it would be B because it's a fixed deposit account. So you cannot make a withdrawal on demand. You can't do that. Nor is it a checking account. So we know 3 would be out. So fixed deposit have to do with a higher interest rate that is offered than savings account. Let's go to 20. The Joy High School wants to build a new canteen and has received promotional material from several firms. In order to select the most suitable firm for the job, the school should invite firms to send A, tenders, B, price lists, C, catalogs, or D, statements. So we know in order to select the most suitable firm for the job. So the school would invite by means of tenders. A. So the school would invite them to send tenders and then they would select. 21 says, the term cross-referencing refers to documents that are filed A as inactive, B as miscellaneous, C under the same headings, or D under different headings. So we know it would be D. Cross-referencing would be under different headings. Let's go to 22. For which of the following reasons would the chairman of the board of a company normally postpone a meeting? A. Two of the directors of the company are absent. B. The secretary has misplaced the list of members. C. The chairman's agenda has not been prepared. Or D. The number of persons needed to form a quorum is not present. So we know that is going, our answer is D. The number of persons needed to form a quorum is not present. Let's go to number 23. Travelers' checks are used instead of cash when traveling abroad because they A. have a greater value than cash, B. will be replaced by the bank if lost, C. are preferred to checks in foreign countries, or D. give the traveler a high status rating in the foreign country. So traveler's checks, it does not have greater value than cash, so A would have been out. B will be replaced by the bank if lost. So that would be your answer. And a traveler check does not give a traveler high status rating. It does not. Neither C would have been out. Let's go to number 24. Here we go. It says, as a supervisor, you are expected to assess workers for a merit award. Which of the following should not be taken into consideration? A, salary scale, B, personal qualities, C, punctuality and regularity, D, initiative in solving problems. So we know that personal qualities would have to be taken into consideration. C, punctuality and regularity, key factors, and initiative in solving problems. So we know the answer, the one that is not, is A. So that is not taken into consideration. That does not deter whether the supervisor should use that in assessing whether a worker should get an award or not. So it is always based on things that are related to the work, to the benefit of the team or the company, and which involves displaying good attitude, qualities, and so on. 25. Which of the following records would show an employee's duties, grade, and salary? 1, the employment contract. 2, the job specifications. 3, the company manual. So our answer is it A, 1 and 2 only, B, 1 and 3 only, C, 2 and 3 only, or D, 1, 2, and 3. So we know it is 1 and 2, so our answer would be A. 26ers. Some firms offer a program which aims to assist new employees in becoming familiar with their jobs. This program is referred to as, is it A, an appraisal, B, an induction, C, a deployment, or D, a recruitment? So we know it's not an appraisal, but B says an induction. Yes, so that would be our answer. 27. Which of the following is the best method of paying for purchasing a box containing 12 paper clips for a company? A, cash, B, check, C, credit card, D, money order. This is a very easy one. We know it would be cash. It's a small amount of paper clips that a company is buying. So there's no need for check, credit card, or money order. So A. 28. Which of the following terms is used to describe a committee which has been set up to deal with a specific matter? A, ad hoc, B, central, C, general, D, administrative. So, so a committee to deal with a specific matter. So we know that would be general. Let's go to 29. Which of the following items of business is not discussed at an annual general meeting? A, declaration of dividends. B, election of directors and auditors. C, making arrangements for a very important person. D, presentation and adoption of the company's reports. So it says, which of the following items of business is not discussed at an annual general meeting? So we know things that discussed at the annual general meetings. We know, for example, like election of directors and auditors. So we know, and the answer could not have been B for 29. We know that it says that is discussed, which is not discussed. So I am sorry. So we know that election of directors and auditors are discussed. A says declaration of dividends, that is discussed at an annual meeting. C says making arrangements for a very important person. Now that is not discussed at an annual general meeting. So 29 would be C. But let's look at D. D says presentation and adoption of the company's reports. That is discussed at an annual general meeting. So C would be our answer. Let's go to 30. Our final question says, at a meeting held on the 25th of April 2017, the appointment of a secretary was discussed. Which of the following documents should be consulted to obtain the information that was discussed at the meeting? so that follow-up actions can be taken. A, the notice, B, the minutes, C, the agenda, or D, the chairman's agenda. So we know this would be notices says the appointment of a secretary was discussed. Then it says which of the following documents you would consult to obtain that information. So we know that would be B, the minutes. So there you have it. We have come to the end of the CSEc Office Administration, May June 2018, paper 1. And this is part 1. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel to know when part 2 is out. Thank you for watching.